Exodus 2 introduction. Well, I think it's one of the better known stories in the Bible, this chapter at least. Everybody, I mean, there's been a number of movies, animation movies, future movies, historical movies made on this chapter, right? This, of Moses' birth and how it all happened. So the only problem with it is sometimes that when you know a story too well, you might think you know it when you actually don't know it. But what's it? Absence makes the heart grow fonder. When you're too familiar with something, then you take it for granted. Okay, so the stories as well. You've read the story a number of times, you take it for granted as if you know it all. Okay, so I hope in the teaching of this chapter we might see a few things or look at a few things and what can be or not be. Okay, but so what is this chapter then ultimately about? Right, there's so remember now the midwife story didn't work from the previous chapter, so now they say, okay, kill the babies after birth. So Moses was born. Well, it starts with his father marrying, so a Levite father marrying a Levite mother, and from the tribe of Levi, that is. So he's a full-blown, full-blood Levite, at least from his parents' side. I mean, immediately, but they kind of, in general, didn't marry outside the tribe. Kind of, there are exceptions, sure, we know. Anyhow, so they got married, and then Moses was born later. He was not the only one born. Okay, he had a brother and sister as well, Aaron and Miriam, right? But so he was born. The focus is now on Moses. So the mother hit him, not hit him, and told she could not do it anymore because babies cry, and some of the time somebody's, I mean, because she's pregnant, and some of the time the sound's going to grow too maybe too loud, and etc. And it's going to, you'll be killed. So what did they came up with the plan? I don't know. I mean, it's a little weird plan. I put him in a basket in the water, and what kind of do you expect? The crocodiles to leave him alone? Or the flooding of the water, or is it that during the day and at nighttime bring him back home? Now, we don't know all the details, okay? We just know that he was put in a basket there on the water and his sister to look after him. So yeah, maybe at the evening bring him back, kind of. During the day the soldiers are out, nighttime they're not out, maybe something like that. Okay, so again, we don't know, but because you're so familiar with the story, you don't really think about that. I'll try and think a little bit for your sake about it in the teaching. Okay, so in some other way, Miriam messed up. The basket got away and started flowing down the water. She couldn't get in to save it. Most likely wouldn't be able to swim. And it was swept all the way up to Pharaoh's daughter taking a bath. She saw it. She said, oh, it's a Hebrew baby. She took him, and Miriam came up, running up. It's like, okay, do you need someone to take care? Yes, sir. And actually, in the end, Moses ended up at home safely now, under the protection of Pharaoh's daughter, and now more so as well, being paid even for the mother's been paid to take care of him. Now, how long exactly he lived with her? A couple of months, maybe a year or so. Most likely not a lot more than that. And then he was taken to the court, where he was then brought up in a way, so ultimately of a pharaoh. Okay, because now he's adopted son of a pharaoh, at least so, right, that the way, brilliant plan of God ultimately. And then yes, one day Moses went out when he was near 40. Went out, he saw these people, I mean, the Egyptian being bad, exactly how, we don't know. Two other Hebrews, he hit a guy, killed him, buried him, thought, okay, no one will see anything. The next day he goes back, two Hebrews quarreling, he tries to stop them, and they're like, oh no, woman, you are put your above us kind of idea, right? You killed her, you're going to kill us like that. I'm like, oh wow, well they saw. right? Now, yeah, again, I'll get back to this idea that the Hebrews actually the ones who bring out the story. They are the ones who are basically going to, what is the reason for that? Spite. Anyhow, now Moses was afraid. Why? I mean, pharaohs do kill people, and they're not really afraid of that. But most likely, Moses was a threat to the pharaoh, the current one, and so he was looking for ways to get rid of Moses, and this was now a perfect way of getting rid of Moses. And Moses knew that, so he fled. And where he got to this well in the Midian, and then there were these girls coming out. They were harassed by other herdsmen, and he is with Moses, seemingly he was a strong guy after all the training there in the palace. He went up and he chased the guys away. He gave the sheep, the flock, and then they went back. I mean, not the girls, and then came to the father. And the father's like, "Why are you so early?" And they explained what happened, and like, "Oh, bring that guy here, bring him." And so, yes, he was brought there. Zipporah was given to him by Reuel as a wife. And so for the next 40 years, Moses is going to live there in the desert. Yeah, he had a son, Goshen. Speaking of that he was a sojourner in a foreign land. Good question, which foreign land? Egypt or here? Good question. And that is how the chapter ends. Okay, so there's a mural of the king Rama the Ninth, and then people working, and then how he visited people. He did it very often. He did a lot of good for the country. Let's face that. I mean, that is you'll lie if you say he didn't. He was highly revered, respected by his people, and rightly so because of his actions and his deeds. And you can go to the north of Thailand and places in the villages where was so run down in the past, and now there's tar roads going up all over the mountains, and the people can produce coffee up there and take it down and sell it in the market, make money instead of planting opium and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, he was mightily used, I think, by God, and he didn't take care of, in the sense of his own. He didn't do everything for himself. In the sense, he really did, as a king, serve his people. So yeah, he was a worthy king. Not all politicians are bad, right? There are some politicians, some kings, good, like Moses in this case is going to be. And ultimately, the perfect king is Jesus, ultimately. So yeah, there's the lake again, just from a different side. So I recorded there in the back at the river, and I recorded two places over there and there with just kind of different views. Right, so I think this might be it for today.